In a world of endless content creation, ever wondered why people stop scrolling? What really grabs the eye in a sea of content? Why does some content go viral and others doesn't? Sure, good storytelling helps, but it's also about how the video looks. Good filmmakers are not just masters of their craft, they are visual artists who have turned color into their signature. A lot of people view color grading in a technical manner. To me, it's an extension of your creative mind and ideas. Every frame holds a potential to a unique story. The possibilities are endless. Think of your film as a black canvas, kind of like a log footage, patiently waiting for your unique perspective, ideas, creativity to shape it into something meaningful. The adjustment you make, the S-curves, the tone you select. To others, they are just settings in a software. To filmmakers, they are the visual language through which they tell their story. This got me thinking, if color grading is an art, then it can be styled. The question becomes, how do I develop a color grading style that represents my vision of art? Because in a world where anyone can be a content creator, your visual signature is what separates you from the rest. So yeah, let's go to a place where we can find some answers. I found the answers in an art gallery. To me, art is how we bring our imagination into reality. Every artist uses their own strokes and palettes to express emotion and tell a story. Just like painting, color grading follows your personal vision. There is no correct way, only what feels authentic to you. Take Christopher Nolan and David Fincher, two directors who share similar emotions using completely different color palettes. David Fincher goes for a cool color palette to express his vision and ideas, while Christopher Nolan always goes for a warm tone to show his works. They approach it differently. Their color choices have become part of their cinematic signature. In my experience, finding your color grading creativity often starts with copying and imitation. By studying the styles you admire, you start to discover what genuinely resonates with your creative instincts. Through experimentation, you begin to let go of the borrowed elements that no longer serve your vision. What is left is something unmistakably yours. A visual language painted in colors. But this raises an important question. How does the type of content you create influences your color choices? The type of content you make should guide your color decisions. Let me show you. We are watching a local match here. Sports typically calls for high saturation, solid contrast, and controlled highlights, which is what we have achieved here. By the way, do you think he's gonna score? Yes or no? Place your bet. Nah, just joking. Now imagine forcing a moody narrative look on the same footage, desaturating it, flattening the contrast. Suddenly it feels a bit off. The grade doesn't match the moment and the disconnect is obvious to the viewer. This principle applies universally and the best content creators understand content and color work together. They don't just slap the same look on everything. Instead, they develop a flexible color signature while maintaining their visual style. But how do you build that visual signature? That is where experimentation comes in. I started editing a year ago and my color grading was messy at the beginning. In my first attempt of color grading, I turned the regular footage into a house of horrors. Wait, let me find the footage. Brace yourself for the horrors and carnage you're about to see. I certainly broke all the rules. What you are witnessing is every artist's nightmare, the gap between vision and execution. I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew the colors that I liked.
But getting what I imagined in my head to show up on the screen, well, that is a whole different story. So that led me through a rabbit hole of finding this website where everyone and their grandma claims that they have the secret sauce to color grading. Yeah, you guessed it, it's YouTube. So the binging begins, watching tutorial after tutorial after tutorial after tutorial, till I finally started understanding how to bring those ideas to life, or at least get closer. That is when the real experimentation began, trying to find a look that felt like me, something that could bring my vision of art to life in my videos. When you start learning color grading, you have to believe in your sense of color, because if you don't trust your choices, the color grade will never look right no matter how good it is. I struggled with that at the beginning, but when I uploaded my first YouTube video and people started asking for tutorials, it wasn't a fast process. It took months of trials and errors, and my color grading has changed since then. I have learned a lot by studying styles like Cineprint. It's not perfect, but that is the point. It's authentic. It's my cinematic signature. In the world of filmmakers, every creator leaves something behind, a fragment of their imagination, an understanding of color, a visual signature left only for the trained eyes to see, a clue to their identity, and then there are creators who pull you into their world without saying a single word. They don't just grade the footage, they grade the feelings, they grade the space between what we see and what we feel. They control the contrast and the tone to guide how the viewers react. Like you, the way he blends black and warmth into a frame is like walking into a memory that isn't yours but somehow belongs to you. And I can't forget about Megan. She understands that color is an emotion. Every shade she chooses is an emotion she's putting into your eyes. Her coloring tells the story that she wants you to feel. And then we have Gux. Well, he sees time as texture. His blue shows the morning rather than night. They show you the weight of waiting, the anticipation of dawn. He makes you feel time passing, not just by saying it. But here's what all the creators understand. A visual signature isn't born from tutorial alone. It's built from practice, obsession, and passion. They create so that we can see the world through their eyes. That is what separates an artist from a technician. A technician would ask, how do I make this look cinematic? While an artist would ask, what do I want this to feel like? Every color grading tutorial teaches you to copy, but is copy really art? All you get is someone else's idea, someone else's look. Your work deserves its own colors, not a rerun of another creator's vision. Because your color palette isn't just a technical choice, it's a cinematic identity. It's the way you see light, the way you remember emotions, the way you translate your inner world into something others can feel. So stop chasing the perfect grade, because in the end, people don't remember perfection. They remember you for being authentic. And we leave you with this. There is no perfection in art, only creation.